You feel it coming, yet you choose silence over truth. Tough conversations often hide behind fear, waiting quietly inside us. Many people avoid them, even when clarity desperately demands attention. The discomfort feels heavier than the relief honesty might bring. Your mind quickly imagines worst-case outcomes before words even form. Fear of conflict becomes stronger than the need for resolution. People worry their words might damage relationships beyond repair. This fear builds invisible walls that block meaningful communication completely. Silence becomes a temporary escape from emotional discomfort and anxiety. But avoiding conversations rarely removes the problem itself permanently. Instead, tension grows quietly beneath the surface, becoming harder later. You may convince yourself the issue is not worth discussing. This belief feels safe, but often creates deeper misunderstandings over time. Avoidance turns small issues into overwhelming emotional burdens eventually. Many people fear rejection more than they value honest expression. That fear keeps important truths locked away inside their minds. They choose comfort now, even if it creates discomfort later. Emotional vulnerability feels risky, especially when outcomes seem uncertain. No one wants to feel judged, misunderstood, or unfairly criticized. This fear makes conversations feel like dangerous emotional territory. Past experiences often shape how people approach difficult discussions today. Negative outcomes in the past can create lasting hesitation and doubt. The brain remembers pain and tries hard to avoid repeating it. This protective instinct sometimes blocks necessary growth and understanding completely. People may lack the skills needed to express themselves clearly. Without confidence, starting conversations feels confusing and overwhelming quickly. Words seem hard to find when emotions feel too intense. So people delay conversations, hoping problems might solve themselves somehow. Unfortunately, most problems grow stronger when left unaddressed for long. Avoidance becomes a habit that feels easier with repetition over time. Each avoided conversation strengthens the cycle of silence and discomfort. Over time, this pattern damages trust and emotional connection deeply. People also fear losing control during emotional or intense discussions. They worry about saying something they might regret later on. This fear creates hesitation before conversations even begin properly. Some individuals prioritize peace over truth, even when truth matters. They believe avoiding conflict keeps relationships stable and calm. But hidden issues often create silent tension that never truly disappears. Social conditioning also plays a major role in avoidance behavior. Many people are taught to stay quiet and avoid confrontation early. This mindset follows them into adulthood, shaping communication patterns unconsciously. They learn to suppress feelings instead of expressing them honestly. Cultural expectations sometimes discourage open and direct emotional discussions completely. This adds another layer of difficulty to already challenging conversations. People fear being seen as aggressive, rude, or overly sensitive. This concern stops them from speaking openly about real issues. Even when they know conversation is necessary, they still hesitate. The longer they wait, the harder it becomes to begin. Anxiety builds as thoughts spiral and scenarios become more intense. Eventually, avoidance feels easier than facing uncomfortable emotional realities directly. Some people struggle to understand their own feelings clearly. Without clarity, expressing thoughts becomes confusing and difficult to manage. They fear saying the wrong thing or making situations worse. This uncertainty adds to the overall hesitation and emotional pressure. Timing also becomes an excuse to delay important conversations repeatedly. People wait for the perfect moment that rarely ever arrives. This delay keeps them stuck in a cycle of inaction. Overthinking becomes another barrier that prevents honest communication entirely. Every possible outcome is analyzed until action feels impossible. The mind creates endless doubts that stop meaningful progress forward. Avoidance may feel safe, but it often leads to regret later. Unspoken words can weigh heavily on the heart over time. Relationships suffer when honesty is replaced with prolonged silence repeatedly. Yet understanding these fears is the first step toward change, because facing tough conversations begins with recognizing why we avoid them. Your brain is wired to protect you from emotional discomfort instantly. It treats tough conversations like threats, even when they are not. This reaction comes from deep survival instincts built over many years. The brain prefers safety, even if that safety is only temporary. Emotional risk feels similar to physical danger in certain situations. That is why your body reacts with stress before speaking honestly. Your heart may race, and your thoughts start to scatter quickly. This response makes conversations feel overwhelming before they even begin. The brain activates a defense mechanism known as emotional avoidance. This mechanism pushes you to delay or completely avoid confrontation situations. It convinces you that silence is the safest and smartest option. But this protection often comes at the cost of long-term clarity. People also struggle with something called fear of negative evaluation. They worry others will judge them harshly for speaking honestly. This fear can deeply influence behavior in social and personal interactions. Even small conversations start to feel like high-stakes emotional risks. The desire to be liked often overpowers the need for honesty. People choose approval instead of expressing what truly matters inside. This creates a disconnect between their thoughts and spoken words. Over time, this disconnect weakens confidence and emotional authenticity. Another psychological factor is the need to avoid internal discomfort. Tough conversations force people to face uncomfortable truths about themselves. This self-reflection can feel challenging and emotionally draining for many. So, they avoid conversations to avoid confronting their own feelings. Cognitive dissonance also plays a powerful role in this avoidance. It occurs when beliefs and actions do not align comfortably together. This mental conflict creates stress that people try to escape quickly. Avoiding conversations helps them temporarily reduce that uncomfortable tension. However, this relief is short-lived and often misleading in reality. The underlying issue remains unresolved, waiting to resurface later again. People also fear losing control over their emotions during discussions. They imagine themselves becoming overwhelmed, angry, or emotionally vulnerable suddenly. This fear leads to hesitation before even attempting the conversation. Emotional regulation feels uncertain, making silence seem like a safer option. Some individuals have perfectionist tendencies that affect communication deeply. They want to say everything perfectly without making any mistakes. This unrealistic expectation creates pressure that delays important conversations repeatedly. They wait until they feel fully prepared, which rarely happens. This cycle keeps them stuck in continuous avoidance and overthinking. Attachment styles also influence how people handle difficult conversations. Those with avoidant tendencies may withdraw instead of expressing emotions openly. They value independence and may feel uncomfortable with emotional vulnerability. As a result, they avoid conversations that require deep emotional sharing. On the other hand, anxious individuals may fear negative outcomes intensely. They may overthink conversations and imagine rejection or abandonment quickly. This fear leads them to delay or avoid speaking altogether. Past trauma can also shape communication patterns in powerful ways. Painful experiences teach the brain to associate conversations with emotional harm. This creates a protective response that avoids similar situations in future. Even safe conversations can trigger fear due to past emotional memories. Social anxiety plays a significant role in avoiding difficult discussions. People fear embarrassment or saying something that sounds awkward or wrong. This fear becomes stronger in emotionally charged or sensitive situations. As a result, they prefer silence over potential social discomfort. People also underestimate their ability to handle tough conversations successfully. They assume failure before even trying to express their thoughts clearly. This lack of confidence strengthens the cycle of avoidance behavior further. The brain creates stories that justify delaying important conversations continuously. These stories sound logical, but often hide deeper emotional fears underneath. Recognizing these patterns is key to breaking the avoidance cycle. Awareness helps you understand your reactions instead of blindly following them. Once you see the pattern, you gain power to change it. You realize the fear is real, but not always accurate. This understanding builds the foundation for stronger, honest communication ahead, because mastering conversations starts with understanding your own mind first. Avoiding tough conversations may feel safe, but consequences quietly grow stronger. Problems rarely disappear. Instead, they evolve into more complex emotional challenges. What starts small can slowly become overwhelming and difficult to control. Silence often creates confusion instead of clarity in important relationships. Misunderstandings increase when people refuse to express their true thoughts. Assumptions replace facts, leading to unnecessary emotional tension and conflict. Over time, this damages trust between individuals in meaningful ways. Trust weakens when honesty is consistently replaced by silence and avoidance. Relationships begin to feel distant, even when people remain physically close. Emotional connection fades without open and honest communication regularly practiced. People may start to feel unheard, unseen, and emotionally neglected inside. This feeling can lead to resentment, building slowly beneath the surface. Resentment grows quietly, but can explode unexpectedly during unrelated situations. Avoided conversations often return stronger, louder, and harder to manage later. The delay only increases emotional intensity and potential damage significantly. People may begin to suppress their feelings to maintain temporary peace. Suppression creates internal stress that affects mental and emotional health. This stress can manifest as anxiety, frustration, or constant overthinking patterns. The mind becomes crowded with unspoken thoughts and unresolved emotional conflicts. Over time, this mental load becomes exhausting and difficult to manage. Avoidance can also damage personal self-respect and inner confidence deeply. When you stay silent, you may feel like your voice lacks value. This belief slowly weakens your sense of identity and self-worth. You begin to doubt your ability to express yourself effectively. This creates a cycle where silence becomes your default response. In professional environments, avoidance can limit growth and opportunities significantly. Important feedback may never be shared, affecting performance and improvement. Conflicts with colleagues may remain unresolved, impacting teamwork and productivity. Leaders who avoid conversations may struggle to guide and support others properly. This can weaken trust within teams and reduce overall effectiveness gradually. Avoidance also prevents meaningful problem solving in both personal and work settings. Issues remain unsolved because they are never openly discussed or addressed. This leads to repeated mistakes and ongoing frustration for everyone involved. People may start to emotionally withdraw to protect themselves from discomfort. This withdrawal creates distance and reduces opportunities for genuine connection. Over time, relationships may feel shallow or lacking emotional depth. Avoidance can also lead to missed opportunities for growth and understanding. Difficult conversations often bring valuable insights and stronger relationships afterward. By avoiding them, people miss chances to learn and evolve personally. Fear-driven silence blocks progress and keeps individuals stuck in old patterns. People may also feel regret for not speaking when it mattered most. Unspoken words can linger in the mind long after the moment passes. This regret can create lasting emotional discomfort and dissatisfaction over time. Avoidance may protect feelings temporarily, but harms them in the long run. It creates a false sense of peace that eventually breaks under pressure. The longer avoidance continues, the harder it becomes to change behavior. Conversations feel heavier because unresolved issues continue to pile up. This makes starting the discussion even more intimidating than before. People may start to believe they are incapable of handling conflict. This belief further strengthens avoidance and limits personal development greatly. Avoidance also affects how others perceive your honesty and reliability. People may question your intentions when important issues remain unspoken. This can damage your credibility in both personal and professional relationships. Open communication builds respect, while silence often creates uncertainty and doubt. Avoidance prevents closure, leaving situations emotionally incomplete and unresolved. Without closure, people struggle to move forward in a healthy way. Emotional wounds remain open when conversations are left unfinished or ignored. Healing requires honesty, which avoidance continues to delay repeatedly. Facing conversations may feel difficult, but avoidance makes things harder later. The cost of silence often outweighs the temporary comfort it provides. Recognizing these consequences can motivate change and encourage honest communication. Awareness helps people understand what is truly at stake here. It shifts focus from fear toward growth and meaningful connection, because every avoided conversation carries a hidden emotional cost, and facing them is the only way to reduce that cost. Starting tough conversations feels difficult, but it becomes easier with strategy. The first step is accepting discomfort as a natural part of growth. You cannot avoid discomfort if you truly want honest communication. Instead of fearing it, learn to manage and move through it. Preparation can significantly reduce anxiety before starting any serious conversation. Take time to understand your thoughts and emotions clearly beforehand. Clarity helps you express yourself with confidence and calmness. Write down key points if organizing thoughts feels overwhelming initially. This simple step can make communication feel more structured and controlled. Choose the right time and environment for meaningful conversations to happen. Avoid starting discussions during stress, anger, or emotional overload situations. A calm setting encourages openness and reduces defensive reactions significantly. Timing plays a crucial role in how your message is received. Begin the conversation with honesty, but keep your tone respectful always. Use simple and clear language instead of complex or confusing words. Focus on expressing feelings rather than placing blame on others directly. This approach reduces defensiveness and keeps the conversation productive. For example, say how you feel instead of accusing the other person. This small shift can completely change the tone of discussion. Active listening is just as important as speaking during tough conversations. Give the other person space to express their thoughts openly. Avoid interrupting, even if you strongly disagree with their perspective. Listening builds trust and shows respect for the other person's feelings. It also helps you understand the situation from multiple viewpoints clearly. Stay focused on the main issue without bringing unrelated past problems. Mixing issues often creates confusion and unnecessary emotional escalation quickly. Keep the conversation centered on one topic at a time. This makes it easier to find solutions and reach mutual understanding. Managing your emotions during the conversation is extremely important. Take deep breaths if you feel overwhelmed or emotionally triggered suddenly. Pausing briefly can prevent reactions you might regret later on. Emotional control helps maintain a constructive and respectful conversation environment. Be open to feedback, even if it feels uncomfortable initially. Remember, the goal is understanding, not winning an argument completely. Flexibility allows conversations to evolve in a healthy direction naturally. Avoid assuming intentions. Instead, ask questions for better clarity always. Questions can reveal misunderstandings and open paths toward resolution faster. Be patient, as not every conversation will resolve everything immediately. Some discussions require time, reflection, and multiple conversations to settle. Setting realistic expectations reduces frustration during difficult discussions significantly. Use positive body language to support your words and intentions clearly. Maintain eye contact and keep your posture open and relaxed. Nonverbal signals can influence how your message is perceived strongly. Stay calm, even if the other person becomes emotional or defensive. Your calmness can help stabilize the overall tone of conversation. If needed, take a break and return when both feel ready. Breaks can prevent escalation and allow emotions to settle properly. Always aim for solutions instead of focusing only on problems repeatedly. Collaborative thinking encourages better outcomes and stronger mutual understanding. Acknowledge the other person's feelings, even if you disagree completely. Validation does not mean agreement. It shows empathy and respect. Small acknowledgments can significantly improve communication and emotional connection. Practice regularly, as communication skills improve with consistent effort. Each conversation builds confidence and reduces fear over time gradually. Mistakes will happen, but they are part of learning and growth. Do not let one difficult experience stop you from trying again. Reflect on conversations afterward to identify areas for improvement. This reflection helps you grow stronger and more confident continuously. Over time, tough conversations will feel less intimidating and more manageable. You will begin to see them as opportunities rather than threats. Confidence grows when you take action despite fear and hesitation. Every honest conversation strengthens your communication and emotional intelligence skills. You become better at expressing yourself and understanding others deeply, because courage in conversation creates stronger, healthier relationships overall. And it all begins with choosing to speak instead of staying silent. Imagine a life where tough conversations no longer control your decisions. That transformation begins the moment you choose courage over comfort. Fear does not disappear, but your response to it can change. You learn to move forward even when discomfort still exists. This shift turns conversations into opportunities instead of emotional threats. Growth happens when you step into situations you once avoided completely. Each conversation becomes a chance to build stronger emotional connections. You begin to understand others more deeply through honest communication. At the same time, you understand yourself on a deeper level. This self-awareness becomes a powerful tool in every interaction you face. Instead of avoiding conflict, you start approaching it with curiosity. Curiosity replaces fear, making conversations feel less intimidating and overwhelming. You ask questions instead of assuming negative intentions immediately. This approach reduces misunderstandings and builds trust between individuals gradually. Trust grows when people feel safe expressing their true thoughts openly. Creating that safety starts with your willingness to communicate honestly. You set the tone by showing respect, patience, and emotional awareness. Others often respond positively when they feel heard and understood. This creates a cycle of healthy communication and mutual respect. Over time, relationships become stronger and more meaningful naturally. You also develop resilience by facing conversations you once feared deeply. Resilience helps you stay calm during emotionally intense or challenging discussions. It allows you to handle discomfort without feeling overwhelmed or reactive. This emotional strength improves both personal and professional relationships significantly. Honest communication also reduces stress caused by unspoken thoughts and feelings. You no longer carry the weight of things left unsaid inside. This creates a sense of relief and emotional freedom over time. Your mind feels clearer when problems are addressed openly and directly. You stop overthinking situations because clarity replaces confusion completely. Clear communication eliminates unnecessary doubts and imagined worst-case scenarios. You begin to trust yourself more in handling difficult situations effectively. This self-trust becomes a foundation for confidence in every conversation. Confidence grows each time you speak honestly, despite feeling uncomfortable. You realize that most fears were exaggerated inside your mind. Reality often feels less threatening than the stories you imagined. This realization encourages you to face future conversations more easily. You become someone who values truth over temporary emotional comfort. This mindset leads to healthier, more authentic relationships in life. People respect those who communicate clearly and honestly with kindness. Respect builds stronger connections than avoidance ever could achieve. You also inspire others to communicate more openly by your example. Your courage can encourage someone else to speak their truth too. This ripple effect creates more honest and supportive environments around you. Communication becomes a tool for growth instead of a source of fear. You learn that discomfort is temporary, but clarity lasts much longer. Facing conversations early prevents bigger problems from developing later. You handle situations proactively instead of reacting after issues escalate. This proactive approach improves decision-making and emotional balance significantly. Over time, tough conversations feel like a normal part of life. They no longer carry the same level of fear or hesitation. You approach them with calmness, clarity, and thoughtful intention always. This transformation changes how you experience relationships and challenges daily. Life becomes less stressful when communication flows openly and honestly. You feel more connected to people and more confident within yourself. The fear that once controlled you loses its power gradually. In its place, confidence and emotional intelligence continue to grow. You understand that avoiding conversations never truly protects you. It only delays the growth that comes from facing them directly. True strength lies in speaking honestly. Even when it feels difficult, that strength shapes better relationships and a more peaceful mind. Every conversation you face becomes a step toward personal growth. You are no longer controlled by fear, but guided by clarity. This shift defines how you communicate and connect with others daily, because honest conversations are the foundation of meaningful human connection, and everything changes when you finally choose to have them.